Right, here we go. We are back for Roundtable Dolphins, episode number 10. I am once again joined by my co host, Billie Melissa. Similar to another podcast that we did, we had a whole plan in place, but Jon-Eric Sullivan decided to talk on the first day of the NFL Combine. And so we have a whole lot of updates to get through, to talk about. Yeah, a lot of stuff that we've already been talking about, but a little bit more clarity on that. Um, First and foremost, Tua Tagovailoa. Obviously, we know that his time with the Dolphins is up. I firmly did believe that the Dolphins were going to keep him on the roster.
Yeah, me too.
I thought that they were going to keep him as the expensive backup or the third stringer, keep him off the roster as the injury, whatever. I don't know the exact term for it. And they were going to bring in a veteran, and Quinn Ewers was going to take the lead. That does not seem to be the case because Jon-Eric Sullivan did confirm to everybody at the NFL Combine that they are seeking a trade for Tagovailoa. So obviously, this would be the win-win situation for the Dolphins, even if they had to pay 80% of that 54 guaranteed million to offload the rest of the contract and sweeten it with a fourth rounder, third rounder, maybe. I know the Dolphins do have three third rounders right now, or could be four. Anyway, I thought that's what was going to go on, but apparently they're seeking a trade.
He's got his guys in the building. And he's going around one by one, being like, "You want Tua? Take him off our."
I mean, look, there's a lot of quarterback hungry teams right
Yeah,
now. There's the Cardinals, you got the
and you can do
Jets.
worse. You can do worse than Tua. He's young. He's got some fire in him. He had great first couple seasons, so I see it. But yeah, I thought for me, I think I understood the situation, and I thought more, it would be more on Tua's part for wanting to leave,
Mhm,
because why would you want to stick around with a team that's not going to utilize you and you're just wasting kind of the best years of your career?
mhm.
But it seemed to make the most financial sense to keep him around. So I'm not completely surprised, but I did see it also going either way.
Yeah, definitely. Apparently that is the case. That A quick update on that is that Tua did indicate from his representatives that he does want to be elsewhere, which
Yeah, I don't blame him.
obviously,
He's like, get me out of this building. No one respects me.
I mean, you get benched, you're a starter, you're just given a large contract, and now you have you potentially could be sitting so that the Dolphins could save money. Nobody wants to be in that situation. Even if you go elsewhere and you're a backup,
Yeah,
still have a higher chance of playing as opposed to being a third string quarterback because that's exactly what would happen with the Dolphins. They would not want to risk him getting injured and then
yeah.
his trade value or whatever or is all worthless. You have to pay whatever guaranteed injury money, all that stuff. So yeah, I that this is a win-win situation. If the Dolphins can trade him. I obviously he doesn't want to be here. Why would he want to be here? I get it. I get it completely. I had a prediction for all of this. I thought really this is how it was going to shake out. I thought Quinn Ewers was going to start. They were going to go get someone like Jimmy Garoppolo, and then Tua would be that third string quarterback. Then they would release him at the end of or 2027 post June 1st, and it would significantly lower that cap hit by a significant amount. So that was my theory. That's what I thought was going to happen, but that might not be the case anymore.
Yeah, he's ready to get out of that building. And I don't blame him. And I think, if he can get back to his full health and he can make it, he can make an impact on another team. And I think maybe, he should go. I mean, he wants to. So just whether anyone's going to pay that price, want to take on that financial burden is a completely different story. And then what's going to happen? Well, he just doesn't play for a year. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. Which again, you don't want to be in that situation because then your value as a quarterback goes down even more.
Yeah,
You have to be on the field. He has to go somewhere where he can even compete for that starting job, not just be shut down. Because if he stays on the Dolphins, he's not competing for it. Period. I mean, he'll
no.
compete, but really they're going to give it to Ewers or whoever the veteran is that they bring in. Which brings me to my next point. The thing that we've been talking about for a while kind of got shut down, and I do believe this is the case. But Malik Willis. Um, that's been the quarterback that's been tied to the Dolphins through this entire weeks, months, whatever,
Yep.
because obviously Jon-Eric Sullivan and Jeff Hafley come for the Packers. They know Willis. We've seen what Willis can do. He was spectacular when came in for relief for the injured Jordan Love. But as a point that I made last time, 6 starts is not enough for a huge contract, which Some team probably will give him, but it should not be the Dolphins, and I don't think it can be the Dolphins because they are still in cap hell right now. They're in the green, but they're not in a situation
Woo!
where they can offer $20 million
No.
to a quarterback with 6 starts. It's insane.
No, but it seems like Hafley's still looking that way. Said he favors signing him.
Yeah,
And it makes sense. And maybe we've said it about other quarterback about other situations around the NFL. Sometimes you prefer as a player to just be with somewhere that you know that like your value or the best is going to come out of you around those people. And you don't necessarily know that going to another team, you're going to slot in the same. But with a completely kind of new package regime over in Miami, maybe it makes sense for him, and maybe he is happy to take less money. But it'll be one of those things, whether he's going money or whether he's going, relationship and hopefully a longer career.
yeah, definitely. But if the Dolphins sign him, I don't think they should go anything above like the $12 million mark. Maybe 12 to 15 is a soft spot, but like anything above that or beyond 20 is insane for me. There's been a report that actually, because the Cardinals are more than likely going to release Kyler Murray, that the Arizona Cardinals are now in the lead to sign Malik Willis, which would
Yeah.
make sense. Like Kyler Murray is a mobile quarterback, so is Malik Willis. I think he would fit into that system really well. And I think they're the kind of team that probably would offer him 20 million a season and go for it, absolutely go for it. Even though he had 3 games, I still firmly believe that Quinn Ewers can be good. I really do. I really do believe that the leaps that he took from that first game to that third game, it was very evident. Obviously, like he needs a full off season, he needs a full training camp, and he needs a full preseason. If he can get that under his belt, I honestly think he's going to be a lot better than what people are giving him credit for.
Yeah, and I mean, with him, it's kind of a low risk situation. Like, if he does great, great. You found your new franchise quarterback and you can kind of move forward and not have to worry about what's going on. If he does horrible, then fine, you get a really great pick in the draft next year. The only thing is about the middling situation where if he does fine, but not great, like you kind of end up in a situation where you're somewhere in the middle of the draft and you can't really do much around that. But there are more picks than just Arch Manning, who's obviously going to go to whoever's in number one next year. It seems to be that there's a stronger class of quarterbacks. So I think he makes the most sense. He's a low risk. He's already on the team. You don't really need to think about the financial situation of it. So don't really see why not.
Yeah, I mean exactly that. Like you see these quarterbacks that come out and you never know what you have, and then they go elsewhere, and then it's not a Sam Darnold situation, so to speak, but it's just a situation where like he's going to stay on the team because he's in a rookie contract no matter what. I
Yeah.
don't think the Dolphins are going to trade him. I don't think they can trade him right now because he's only had 3 starts. But you know, once he gets that other full season, and maybe that's a situation where they go, okay, like he's good, but he's not the guy. And Jon-Eric Sullivan made it very clear that they're going to be drafting a quarterback. They're going to draft a quarterback this season. They're going to draft a quarterback every season until they find that guy, which is
See,
like,
this is where it confuses me, and I'm not really sure that that's the best strategy.
right.
But I'm not a head coach and I'm not a general manager. But I just think it's a really bizarre thing to do. Like I don't get it personally, especially for going in the first round.
Yeah. I mean, I get that too. Yeah. Cause, I mean, like yeah, you look at it again, going back to the Arizona Cardinals, like, look what happened with Josh Rosen. They drafted Josh Rosen. He ended up not being good. And then they went and got Kyler Murray. So, but now they're going to cut Kyler Murray. So you
Yeah,
went through
and
two
now you're not
quarterbacks.
filling any holes on the other part of the ball, and you're missing out on other good players. And I think that this is where, some teams are really good at the draft and they're good at knowing where the holes need to be filled and what they can kind of afford for a rookie to come in and have a veteran alongside them. And like, do you really want two rookie quarterbacks competing against each other? Is that really very a healthy environment? Is that where you're going to get the best out of both? Maybe it is. Maybe it is a situation of having two young quarterbacks going head to head and you get the best out of them. But I think it's an odd strategy, personally.
Yeah. I mean, I don't, I mean, I think he's saying that, he's saying what he's supposed to say, but I don't think that's a good strategy or not necessarily what they're gonna be doing anyway.
Yeah.
Because just like you said, I mean the Dolphins have a lot more players that they need to draft, a lot more roster holes they need to fill. But getting back into other potential trades, so one is Minkah Fitzpatrick. Sullivan did indicate that yes, the Dolphins are actively shopping Minkah Fitzpatrick. Unfortunately, Minkah did not request a trade.
I was gonna
Uh,
say he sat
he,
there like, what? I've got my condo set up. I'm good.
yeah,
Like, where am I going
And,
now?
and honestly, it really sucks because I like Mika. I liked him a lot when the Dolphins drafted him in 2018, I believe it was, and I was really upset that they let him walk. But that wasn't the Dolphins so much as it was a Brian Flores situation, and obviously we know what happened there. But he was sent to the Pittsburgh Steelers. He got all pro nods. He got Pro Bowl nods. He was fantastic, and then he
Yeah, it
got
was a
re
pain in the butt, is what he was.
and then he got retraded back to the Dolphins via a trade that sent Jalen Ramsey to the Steelers and Jonnu Smith to the Steelers. Now he put up a pretty good season. Everybody was talking about he was going to miss a beat. He wasn't the same safety, yada, yada, yada. But he did really well. Put up a pretty good season, got hurt, calf injury the last 3 games of the season. Didn't make it back, but regardless, it appears that the Dolphins are trying to trade him um, to a contender, which obviously, I see why they're doing it, but he did not request that trade. His agent Drew Rosenhaus said that it was not either of them, that story got leaked, and he said whether or not the Dolphins are going to trade him, he will not say. But Jon-Eric Sullivan basically told everybody at the combine that that's what's happening. Um, well,
Meanwhile, does Minkah Fitzpatrick know this?
yeah,
Is he
right.
finding out the same way? Does he know?
Yeah, yeah, no, I mean, obviously he knows now what's going on. So, we'll see what happens. I mean, obviously the Dolphins are in a full reset, full rebuild. They've cut Tyreek Hill, which we didn't get to talk about because it literally happened minutes after we recorded the last
Yep.
pod. They cut Nick Westbrook-Akane. They cut
Bradley
James
Chubb.
Daniels, and then Bradley Chubb has not been formally cut or released, but he is going to be. I think they're still waiting on if he's going to be post June 1st or not, because of the cap hit
Yeah.
situation or whatever. But he's also going to be released no matter what. That's
This
still
is,
happening.
I again, like, I'm looking at it, I'm like, these are all your guys. Do you want to keep at least one of them in the building? Because they're not just your guys on the field, they're your guys in the locker room. They're the guys that can kind of rally the younger teams. And like if you're really rebuilding a complete team and you don't have a quarterback, you don't have someone who's kind of leading or is the leading voice, like who does that leave?
Yeah.
Waddle?
Yep. I mean, that's the player. That's honestly out of everything going on, everything, all of the trade situation, the rebuild, yada yada. So Jon-Eric Sullivan did say, "quote Jalen is a very good football player. My vision is for Jalen to be part of this. We are not actively trying to move Jalen Waddle." I'm very happy about that simply because, it shows Jalen Waddle showed his character a lot when he was on the set, which is Teron Armstead's podcast, former Dolphins O line, Saints O line, very good football player, does a really good podcast now. So he brought Jalen Waddle on and he asked about, the trade situation and how Jalen Waddle's name was thrown up a lot before the trade deadline in November of last season, 2025. He was upset about that. He said that
Hmm.
he was offended the fact that his name was being tossed around. So I love that simply because it's like he wants to be with the Dolphins, regardless of the struggles that they're currently having, the struggles that they're going to have in 2026. The win total is 4.5 games right now. We'll see what happens. But the point being is like, he's right. As the kids say, he's ride or die for the Dolphins, and I really respect that about him. Um, Jon-Eric Sullivan and Jeff Hafley said that he's a foundational player, and now it
Yeah.
appears that they're staying true to their word.
No, I like that, and I really respect players who do just respect their team. They respect the city more than they respect chasing the money, because I'm sure you can go somewhere else and get a pretty nice contract elsewhere. Um, but I think it's important that you keep at least someone, and keeping someone with that kind of heart for the team, in the building is going to be crucial to this next step where you're kind of gutting it all out and you're starting again and you're taking it right down to the studs. So, I mean, great respect for him doing that.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, I've always liked Waddle. I mean, like he's had his ups and downs, but I think he's got 3,000 yard seasons, and he's still. This is going to be his fifth year, I believe it is. Let me fact check myself on that for the
Yeah, and
you.
with the talent around him, he's not been allowed to flourish in the last couple of years. So
Yeah, yeah. So let's see. He had 910 yards this past season, so he's had
it's
three.
not
Yeah,
good enough. What?
the first 3 seasons of his career were all over 1,000 yards, and then 2024 744. He was hurt a little bit, and then 2025 he had 910. So
Well, he's having
obviously,
that production with little around him, so it's great.
yeah, and again with what we know about Tua now with his limitations as a quarterback, you put somebody else in there, maybe Waddle's going to have that really strong year again, which who the hell knows who's going to be under center at this point. But
He's
I
like, and
like,
who's throwing me the ball next year?
yeah, he's like, can I get a little insight on who?
I'm gonna need that because I need to build some chemistry with them.
Right, right. But, um, another update real quick is Jon-Eric Sullivan did talk about Austin Jackson, and the indication is that they are trying to work something up, a contract restructure to bring him back. I'm not. Yeah, let's see. We'll continue to have a conversation with Austin Jackson as people, but I'd like for things to work out here. Sullivan said about him being restructured. He is a potential free agent, pending free agent. Uh,
You've thrown everyone else out of the building. You can't throw out that guy as well.
yeah, 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 go
Do you
ahead.
want two injured quarterbacks?
Yeah, but see, that's the problem is Austin Jackson can't stay on the field. That's the issue. He's
Mm,
been hurt so much these past few seasons that like it sucks because when he's on the field, he's so good. When he's healthy,
mm.
he's so good. But like Teron Armstead, he just is not. He's been seldom, hurt and or so yeah,
Sort
he's
of
just
not
been
her.
seldom not hurt. There you go. Thank you. He's just been hurt a lot, and
Yeah,
it's not great. You know. Um,
yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I mean,
But
we'll
then
see.
that's just one less headache for them to figure out
Very true, but
until he gets injured, and then they're like, "Well, now what? No
yeah,
one saw this coming."
I'm just the thing that makes me upset about it is because the Dolphins have needed to fix their offensive line for
Yeah.
so effing long, and then just keeping Austin Jackson on a restructured deal, while beneficial because he's a proven veteran. When he's healthy, he's fantastic, but he's just hurt. So,
Yeah.
do you really want to do that again where Austin Jackson goes down because he went down like the first game of the season or something like that? First or third, I can't remember what it was exactly, but he was out. And then they're patchworking the offensive line. That actually worked out, except for Jonas Havanea, as we know, it was worst. But he might get moved to a different position. That's a conversation for another time. The point being, Austin Jackson's hurt a lot. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this one. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean anything. It's probably more just maybe if they're going to keep him around, best to stay as quiet as possible on that, so as to not upset any relationships.
Yeah, definitely. We'll see what kind of restructure. And obviously I have a soft spot for him because he's USC, California. Let's go. But we'll see what happens. He's just injured a lot. And, going back right into the quarterback, we kind of briefly touched on it with Jon-Eric Sullivan saying they're going to draft a quarterback every year, that they're trying to draft a quarterback this year. They've been mocked to drafting Carson Beck in the third round, which we'll see. But more importantly, another player that potentially could go to the Dolphins at number 11 overall is Ty Simpson. We've talked about Ty Simpson before. Again, I think it's kind of silly because you have Quinn Ewers right there. So you're going to
Hmm.
kind of go into a situation where the only way I see this working out is if they trade Tua Tagovailoa, then you got Quinn Ewers, then you bring in your Jimmy Garoppolo, and then you bring in your Ty Simpson. I think that's the only way the situation works out. So
Do you want
then
your first round pick going on him?
no, I don't. But I really don't. If he falls to the second round at 43 and the Dolphins could take him, go for it.
Yeah.
I think you got to bolster that wide receiver. I think you got to bolster the secondary. I think you got to bolster the O line. Those are three right in the first round. Any one of those three picks, I'd be stoked for the Dolphins to get. But we'll see. I don't even know right now, but Ty Simpson will be throwing at the combine, so everyone's going to get to see him in action. And the knock right now is he's only had one season as a starter. It was a
Yeah.
good season, but the experience level there. And again, I don't know. I'm confused about like you brought up. I'm also confused about the strategy of drafting another quarterback, a young quarterback, when you have Quinn Ewers. So
Yeah.
I think you go position player here, you go skill player, wherever it is, and then you still don't draft. Maybe you take Carson back. I don't know, whatever. If it's in
Hmm.
third, fifth, later rounds, and then you just got to see what you got in viewers. In my opinion, I just think
Yeah.
that's the smartest route for the Dolphins. I think they have to do that, or at least let them compete. I don't know.
Yeah, and you got the Jets and the Browns ahead of you, and both of those are. I mean, the Browns not so much because it seems like Todd Monken's quite happy to have Shador as his quarterback.
Mhm.
But Jets are number two, so they might snap him up before. Maybe if they can't figure out their quarterback situation. But I don't like it personally. I don't think I think if he, like you said, if he falls out of the first round and he's somewhere around second, then it just keeps going like it did last year with Shador. People thought it was going to go in earlier round. I think he was there all the way to the fifth, and that was the story of the weekend. So,
Yep.
things happen. And Lamar Jackson almost fell out of the first round. So, and as we said, Tom Brady all the way down to the sixth round,
Yep.
so
Yep.
these things happen. He could be there.
Maybe, yeah, maybe. I don't know. I mean, if he's there at 43, I think that's a no-brainer for the Dolphins to
Yeah.
take him. But he's a projected first round pick. Obviously, Fernando Mendoza is going to go first overall to the Raiders. We
Yeah.
know this. Ty Simpson can go anywhere between that, but I think the other players the position needs and who is available, I don't think that. I think he probably could fall to the Dolphins at number 11. Do they take him? Should they take him? I don't know. I don't know because again, you got Quinn Ewers, and I keep saying this. I'm going to keep saying it. This is to not give him a chance would be the most Dolphins thing to do, in my opinion. It
And
really
they're
would
not even
be.
the Dolphins anymore. They've had an overhaul. So they're still
Right,
making the decision.
right. So it's like that would be to skip to take him would be a Chris Greer thing for sure. Ty Simpson. So we'll see. I don't know. I have faith that Sullivan's not going to do that, but he said they're going to draft a quarterback. So again, maybe it's a quarterback in the later rounds. Sure,
Yeah.
go for it.
Why
That
not?
person probably ends up on the practice squad anyway, so it doesn't really
Hmm.
matter, But ah,
No, first round, I think is a silly thing to do. You want to build through the draft. You want to be getting those players, especially because you've gutted out everyone else. You've got no one left. You need to fill those holes that you've just kicked out to some of your best position players. So to be going quarterback first round, I think is a really silly move. I can see it upsetting fans. I don't think it makes much sense. So hopefully that's not the situation, and it is one of those things where he just picks up another quarterback somewhere in the late rounds, lets him sit behind you as for the year, uses him to trade off to some other team. I don't know. We'll see.
exactly. I mean, there's smarter strategies than to go and pick Ty Simpson in the first round. Um, Also, dude, Jeff Hafley took the podium and said the edge rusher room, we need to fill that up, which makes sense because they traded Jalen Phillips. You're cutting Bradley Chubb. The only pass rusher you got left is Chop Robinson, who did not have a good season. But obviously, again, this is a conversation of like the whole defense didn't really collectively meld together. So,
You think
yeah,
they looked at their sheet and were like, "Oh, yeah, it's not like it's so good out there. Like we need to go refill that."
I mean, there's just so many holes on this roster. The secondary, Cater Kohu, Storm Duck, Artie Burns, like all those guys were wiped out. You got Jack Jones, which he was not that great. He was decent, but not that great. And then you got Rasul Douglas. So you signed Rasul Douglas, re-sign him, which they should because he's a veteran and he had a great year. And then you bring in those younger cornerbacks too to learn in a Rasul Douglas,
Hmm.
who's a longtime veteran. You fix that. You got to fix the O line still. You got to add some quality players there. And there's just too many roster holes right now for you to be like,
Yeah.
nah, we're going to go get a quarterback, in my opinion.
Yeah, first round, very silly. It doesn't really seem very serious, especially in a year where you're not necessarily planning to make a big run at the playoffs or, at the Super Bowl. Doesn't really make much sense or sit right with me.
No, and I agree. And you got to look at it too. So if your goal is to reset the roster, which they've already started to do, you're going to stack draft capital by trading away players such as Minkah Fitzpatrick and Tua potentially, but you don't get any draft capital a lot back, probably a fifth or sixth round maybe.
Yeah.
But then you fix your cap hell and you have way better cap situation heading into 2027. And if the team is obviously as dire as 4.5 wins or somewhere around there because of like that really thin roster and the younger players that need time to develop. You look at 2027, you look at Arch Manning, you look at Dante Moore, you look at all the other quarterbacks that you can go and choose from because you gave a year to Quinn Ewers, then you realize it didn't work out, which fine. That's
Yeah.
okay. You at least gave it a shot to see what you got, what you're working with. You don't overpay and go get Malik Willis. Maybe they do. Maybe he works out. Fine. Even then, you can then spend more of that money to build around him. But I just don't think you go and spend that first round pick on somebody like Ty Simpson.
Hey, maybe this is the plan. Maybe they're like, we don't want any of our good players because we're trying to get that number one. It's an intentional bomb for next season.
I mean, they honestly, as much as the Dolphins said they didn't do it, that's exactly what they did for Tua, tank for Tua. That was the whole thing, and now the new
Mm.
one's called March for Arch. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens with Arch Manning, but the whole like campaigns have not worked out in the Dolphins' favor, so maybe let's not do that. But I mean, yeah, I just don't
Because
think
then
you're.
what? You bring Arch in and then
Yeah, right. And then he
he's
does, and then
getting
he doesn't
knocked
work.
over, he's
Yeah,
injured, you haven't got
yeah,
any guys
yeah.
to throw to. What's the
We have no O line.
point?
You got Waddle, and that's it. But I
He's
mean,
scared, like, what did I sign up for? Yeah,
right.
bless
But
him.
you have some great foundational players. You got Patrick Paul. You got Aaron Brewer on the offensive line that are solidifying that line. You got to work on the nuts and bolts of it a little bit more.
Hmm.
You got Devon Achane, who's insanely good and has only gotten better as the years have gone on. 3 years under his career, he's just going to be continuing to get better and better and better. Great.
Yep.
You got Jaylen Waddle. You still need that wide receiver. Tyreek Hill has been released. You need to go out and fix that a little bit. There's just a lot going on with the Dolphins roster wise. Obviously, Jon-Eric Sullivan has a plan in place, but I don't think that plan should include drafting Ty Simpson with the number 11 pick overall. I would even be more so happy with the decision that Jon-Eric Sullivan decides to trade down.
Yeah.
Trade down if there's nobody there, like that if you feel you can get Mansour Delane at number 13 or number 14 or whatever the case may be, because there's going to be so many teams that are going to be trying to trade up for sure. It's always the case, but the number 11 pick overall, the Dolphins are in a pretty good spot to leverage that. Do exactly what the Rams did. You trade down a few spots, trade down a couple spots, whatever the case may be. You get a first round pick for the next year too. You have two first round picks in 2027. Say both of those are in the top 10 because you didn't do that well. And then maybe you can get an Arch Manning or whoever, or you can get a
Hmm.
Dante Moore. I don't know, but I just don't think that they should be going and getting Ty Simpson at number 11.
No, I'm seeing who's below the Dolphins. You got the Cowboys right after the Rams. They've got twat too, so they're not going to need it. Ravens, Bucks, Jets again. Gosh, so
Yeah.
many teams picking twice or a couple times in the first round.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's a possibility.
I think so. I mean, we'll see. Again, this is all speculation. Nobody knows quite what's going to happen on trade night, and then all of a sudden you hear that a trade's in. You're like, oh my god, what's happening? And then like some random play, like the Chiefs jump up into number 4 or whatever. We don't
Browns
know.
have two, like Brown, like
Yeah.
what do you do every year with all these picks?
The Jets,
What do you
they
do?
do it every year. They have the most cap space. They have all these picks, and look what happens. But
Like
but that's the thing
Aaron
too.
Rodgers, anyone?
Right.
You want to
Yeah.
say?
But that's the thing is the Dolphins were like that too. Chris Greer was not a great talent evaluator. Now you have a full front office in place. You have a full new shiny front office. You have a new coaching staff. It's a different
That's their
era.
skill, apparently.
Don't make the same mistakes. Start fresh. You're already doing so by trimming those players, which it sucks because Bradley Chubb is. I like Bradley Chubb. I love Tyreek Hill. You know, James Daniels and Keenan, meh. But you know, it sucks. But it's the nature of the business. The Dolphins got themselves in a crappy cap situation. So now, fix it. Fix it the right way. Don't go drafting a quarterback in the first round. You don't need it right now. Third round, fourth round, sure, why not? Go crazy.
Yeah. Just be smart,
Just be,
please.
yeah, please, just be smart. Which there's a lot of faith in Jon-Eric Sullivan. A
Maybe
lot of
there's
faith.
something in the air in Miami. You get down there and you just go, who cares? Let's have six quarterbacks.
Yeah, I don't want a Cleveland Browns 5 quarterback situation going on in Miami. We don't need that. Let's not
That's
do
a
that.
uniquely Cleveland thing. I don't think any
it's
other
a
team.
it's a 100% Cleveland Browns thing to do that. To have that many quarterbacks on the roster heading into training camp. That's insane.
It's like it's a dance off. Like, come on, get
Yeah,
up and dance. I
yeah.
don't
Whoever's got
know.
the best moves, you're the quarterback. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
And then Joe
Um,
Flacco style.
yeah, right, exactly. Like what? And then
I
he
don't
gets
know.
benched, like everybody thought was gonna happen. Yeah,
Oh, Flacco. I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting on the second Super Bowl ring.
yeah, yeah. But anyway, this has been Dolphins Roundtable Dolphins episode number 10, the Combine special as well, because there's been so many updates. We will be back next week to talk all about potentially more situations of maybe the two situations kind of figured out. We'll see.
Said they
By
wanted it done by the end of the combine week, right?
They said they want something going. So next week, depending on what day we record, it's 2 weeks until the tampering period can begin. But it's fast approaching league year. That week, the 9th is tampering and the 11th is the league year. So in between that time, there's going to be a whole hell of a lot of free agency news. Not so much for the Dolphins because they don't have any money. So we'll see what happens, trades, all that. We'll be back.